All right, Jim, we're back again. And as we promised, we have the promises. Welcome, everybody, back to Positive Connections Radio and HALT and Call for backup. I'm Mike Cook, and over there in South Carolina is my buddy, Jim McClintock.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Mike, you talked about the promises in the last episode of the 12-step program, and today's the day we dive into the promises. So why don't you go ahead and take this puppy and run?
Yeah, promises. So if you guys don't know what the promises are, check it out. Google it, ChatGPT it, however you get your information. However, look for it, but I'm gonna give you a rundown of it too. So we talked about Alcoholics Anonymous. We talked about the 12 steps. We're talking about all the steps. We're deep diving into all of them because it's super interesting and it's super helpful. I'm living proof that it does change your life, and I love it. But there's some things that we don't love about them. A lot of times, I've heard numerous times that we look for any excuse. Sometimes I always say I look for excuses sometimes to get out of things, right? And the best thing is, like, God, they talk about God as this religious program. Oh, I don't do that. I don't get along with that person in the meetings. I'm just like, chill out then, all right? And maybe go to another meeting, right? Why are these people pissing you off so much? It's got to be you, right? No, it's not you? Okay, then it's them. Then we got to work on that too. So whatever. So my head's just spinning with things I've heard, and we talked about rolling with resistance. And I sit there sometimes, I'm like, I've heard that so many times. I said that before. Heard that before too. Can we work around it? Can we meet each other in the middle somewhere? Sometimes we can. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we have to go back out and try it again, experiment again, see if we can do it right this time. The Bart Simpson hand on the flame, ow, 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 until your fingers are burnt off.
Yeah.
Bummer, man. I'm sorry for us as being humans that we have to go down that road sometimes. But let's talk about the promises. So the promises are part of it. When I read the promises the first time in a detox I went to before I got sober, before I lost everything, I remember sitting in this group at 9:00. I got there a little earlier, of course, because I'm always on time or early. If you're on time, you're late. So I was always early, sat down. Everybody else started coming in. And besides seeing those 12 steps on the wall and thinking to myself, Mike, you are such an idiot. I can't believe that these are the 12 steps that you've been avoiding your whole life. You've never researched it. Contempt prior to investigation, like we said before. I looked at it and I was thinking, I can do those. I really can do those. And when it got down to through prayer and meditation in step 11, I'm like, I like meditating. I always loved that kind of stuff, right? I could do this program. Next to it too were the promises I've never read before, never even heard before. It was just, everything was just so new to me. And I read the promises, and I'm going to read them to you now, again, to how it's written in the big book of, how it's written in Alcoholics Anonymous and a lot of meetings we go to. That's what they have, they read from. And these promises do come true. They really do. And I knew when I read them, they weren't all true when I read them. Of course, I was pretty much in the bottom of this really dark hole that I had found myself in, but I knew eventually there'll be light. And then I knew over time it would come through, because they're all just general stuff and that we all want to live. So let me read the promises real quick, Jim. Can I do that?
Absolutely.
All right. Here are the promises. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. Where does that hit with you, Jim, when I read that?
Mike, what really caught my attention was the sentence about we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how all of this kind of seamlessly integrates from sentence to sentence to give you a sense of peace and tranquility about it's okay to have problems. It's okay not to be perfect. Don't regret your life. I mean, we can feel bad about some things, but what did we learn in the process? Like I'm always trying to find a positive take and a superpower
Mm-hmm.
my clients on the things that they've gone through and who they are now. For example, just because you're in recovery doesn't make you anything other than you're in recovery. And guess what else? You got a lot more self awareness in the process. I'm sorry you crashed and burned your life so hard. There are consequences for everything we do. Good consequences for the good we do, less than good consequences for the less than good that we do. But one of the pieces that's so important is not to regret the past or shut the door on it, but to learn from it. But that is a very precarious place to go for some people. Some people have done all they can to weld that door shut. I am not going to open the door to the past. I've got that handled. How? It's sealed shut. And it's sealed shut for a damn good reason. I'm not open to that anymore. I don't need help from back there. I need help from today forward. And as a counselor, as a therapist, I go, you got it. And we'll go from today forward. If the client ever brings up the past, that gives me the opportunity to talk about it a little bit. Hey, I noticed that before you didn't want to talk about the past, but you just made a comment about it. Do you want to go in that direction? What would you like to do? And see where they want to go with those kinds of things. But when you asked me about what stood out to me, that was one of the things that really captivated me was the openness that the promises give us, the freedom. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it.
And that's really good common sense in recovery too. Regretting the past, but not wanting to shut a door on it. And that's a big one. We hold a lot of regret. We hold a lot of shame and guilt. The woulda, coulda, shouldas. I don't have a time machine. I can't go back in time and change stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could have done things differently, but what am I going to do now? Like, what is my responsibility for me as a human being? I have to move forward. I'm going to get through this. Never give up, no matter what. They tell us that, early on in life, early on in the academy, right? You never give up no matter what. You're there for other people. You're there to protect people. You're there to make sure we get out safe, alive. We get home to our families, right? We don't give up no matter what. We just don't say, oh, God, okay, bad guy. Just run. I'm done. Forget it. We'll get you next weekend. No, we don't. We don't give up. And I like that part about we're not going to shut the door on the past. I regretted my past. So I wanted to work on that. Let's work on regret. That's where does that come from? Let's work on that. And it helps when you have a good therapist, especially with first responders. Get a good trauma therapist that deals with this stuff because it's really, really important and it's going to really benefit you to help understand what's really going on in your life. And serenity is great. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That meant to me, I was pretty far down the scale at that time. And I knew that I had to put meaning to it. Like, this didn't just happen. Yeah, it was my fault. Yes, I got addicted. I did some stupid things. I found myself just like on the bottom of the hole, right? And I didn't know what the hell was going on from there on. But I was far down the scale as I could have gone before digging my own grave and dying. So I knew at the outside of this, once I got through this experience in life, I can benefit others. And that's what I wanted to do. From the very first time that I've read these steps, when I was in that detox, when I went to that 28-day exactly rehab with general population people from all over the place, that's where it started at. And I knew eventually, as being a first responder or a former first responder at that moment, I am going to get through this. I'm going to do these 12 steps. I'm going to get a sponsor. I'm going to meetings. I'm going to read that big book that reminded me of a Bible. I always thought that like AA or 12 step were all like culty type of like things. Yeah, they're anti what I thought it was. Contempt, prior to investigation, right? It's anti what I was thinking about before. And I was going to eventually be able to give what I've learned because I've developed my program. I didn't know when, I don't know how, but I was going to give it back to first responders, and I am right now. So my dream has come true, and it took several years. It took at least a couple years before I was competent enough to actually give any kind of guidance or advice or suggestions to other people. I had to implement it in my life. I wasn't going to be a fraud. I didn't want to have that imposter syndrome. Like, I'm doing all these things, but I'm not really sure of myself. But I'm telling you that's the last thing I wanted to do. And I've never been that way. Even going back to police work and stuff, I wanted to make sure if I trained you on something that I was doing it the way I was training you, and I was doing it to the best of my ability, and I knew my shit, right? So the feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. You lose interest in selfish thing and gain interest in our fellows. I never liked the word fellows. It's just so old-fashioned. My fellows. I still don't like that word fellows. Even though my meeting is called the fellowship, here's about fellowship. Fellows is just a weird word. I don't know why. It's a me thing, right?
Yeah.
But gain interest in other people. Yeah. Self-seeking will slip away. All right. I'm going to be not as selfish as I was before. What do you say about selfishness?
Changing it around and becoming intelligently selfish when it's appropriate.
Love that. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Yeah. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. That was a tough one for me.
Yeah.
Economically, I was insecure, and I'm like, okay, that's one big one I got to work on. I don't know how I'm going to get through this thing. Economic security was really tough for me. And then the one that really stands out to me that they threw a God in there too is we'll suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. And that sticks with people sometimes. They see that line, they go, oh, geez, all right, here comes God again. Here comes religion again. We go to church on Sunday mornings again, right? So know what I did, Jim?
What'd you do?
I changed it all up.
Feeling.
I kept it the same. And what I did was, I didn't do too much to it. I just sort of formulated it. It's actually, these are like the 14 steps of the promises, okay? Or the 14 promises. Because I think out of all these, I got 14. I do like 15, though. Maybe I should make it 15. I have to add one.
Let's see.
I'm a numbers person, too. I like odd numbers instead of even numbers. Are you an odd or even number guy?
I don't know if I've ever reflected on that before. I think it's the sign of higher level thinking.
You just always keep shooting out these compliments to me, man. You're making me blush. Thank you.
Just genius.
I don't know. Like when you look at a number, doesn't one number make you feel a little bit different than another number? Like a 14. Well, I actually I have a story behind 14. Let me pick 10. Like a 10, 11 is a lot easier to look at than a 10. I don't know what it is. A 5, I like 5s. 6s seem a little bit weak. I don't know. It's just a me thing. I like odd. Maybe I'm just odd.
Maybe.
Okay, let's go through the odd 14 promises.
You're not alone. This is Mike Cook's version of the 14 promises.
Let's do that.
See if we can squeeze 15 out of it, since 14 might make him uncomfortable.
Thank you. We are starting to know peace even when life isn't perfect. We no longer feel trapped by fear or regret. We are learning how to live with purpose and direction. We begin to trust ourselves and others again. We feel less alone and more connected to others. We lose the constant desire to escape or numb our emotions. We stop beating ourselves up over the past. We understand that our experiences, even the painful ones, can help others. We begin to feel free from guilt, shame, and resentment. We no longer react to life with panic. We pause and respond thoughtfully or halt and call for backup. We are becoming more open, calm, and grateful. We know we can handle life as it comes without needing to hide from it. We don't regret the journey. We see how far we have come. We're becoming the people we were always capable of being. How do you like that?
I love them.
It sounds, I mean, I love the promises. I've always loved it. But when I put it out on paper like that, when I'm able to actually see it and just pick it apart, and I would suggest to anybody like is interested in this stuff or want to research it or see if it's not for them and prove that it's not for them, or flip it around and prove that it is for them, or just like have an open mind, being honest, open-mindedness and willingness. That's how it works. So if you can do that, what I did, and I suggest it could be helpful for you. It was for me. When I learned something new in recovery, whether it was the promises, whether it was the steps, Alcoholics Anonymous, the Serenity Prayer, like my favorite, it was like, what I did was this. I picked it apart. I got pen to paper, had a lot of time on my hands, right? And I like put it out there and I dissected each part of it. I dissected each part of it so I would be able to understand in my own mind what that means to me. Not what it's saying to me, but how I'm interpreting this part. I wanted to get it right. Not perfect. I know I would never be perfect. I wanted to be completely honest with everybody else. I wasn't perfect. I learned to be a better version of myself as I moved forward, even making mistakes. So I took this apart too, years ago, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get there. This is my goal. It says the promises, so they promise me, right? So it's going to come true, and it's true. They wouldn't have named it the promises if it wasn't true. They would have changed that name years ago, right? Like someone would say, hey, these promises suck, man. They don't work. It's not promises. They're lying to us. No, they do work if you work them.
Right.
It works if you work it, right? So
Yeah.
I had to look at it and take it apart and know that I'll get to there someday. And I just have to have trust and guidance in other people that know more than me about this. And I want to learn from them. I still constantly learn. Like you are my mentor, Jim. I learn from you constantly. Intelligently selfish. I use that out in public. I use that out in wherever, my family, or I did it this last week in group, and I'll put that out there. I did it to a family. I have a family Zoom group I do. And I wanted to tell you, someone commented on that and go, and Mike, last week you talked about being intelligently selfish. And that really resonated with me. And I'm like, oh my God. You know where that came from, folks? And I talk all about you. I do. I really do. I love you, man. But anyway, I learned from these people in my life, these mentors, and some are younger than me, right? I don't have an age thing. Some are female, some are men, but I really regard their passion, their strength, their conviction of doing good things and helping other people, because I want to be able to help people in my own way and be a little bit sharper at things and understand things a little bit more and get more information. I want to keep on learning, like, how did they present them? I'm in awe sometimes when I look at people presenting. I'm saying, okay, they said something just so eloquently, like they said it 1,000 times, maybe they have, but it resonated. I don't like that word either. Anyway, it resonated with me, Jim. It hit something in me that I'm like, I want to be that. I want to be able to convey that to other people and have that confidence to do that. So that's where I'm at.
Oh, so nice to hear, Mike. And thank you for that. Thank you for taking a moment to say that, give me that compliment. I appreciate you so much. Mike, what would you say to, or what have you said from your experience to a person who is on the doorstep of checking out a meeting, getting their recovery going? They're in that contemplative phase, but they just won't step over the line to start working on it. How do you encourage them?
Just give them positive reinforcement. I asked them to change it to something fearful. And how would you flip fear into something? And I equate it to fear. For me, it hits the same spot, me going down a roller coaster, right? That feeling of weightlessness, and you're going down and people are screaming, and it could trigger some things too, but you're like out of control. Like you don't have control where that thing goes. You're strapped in there. Part of you is praying that it's not going to crash, and part of you is like having a really great time. And that's fear. That's where the fear lives in my body. So I take it and I take fear and I make it into excitement. So when I'm scared of something, like I'm excited about this. Yeah, I'm nervous, I'm anxious, but I'm excited. Like, because what am I gonna discover about myself? Who am I gonna meet? What synchronicity is gonna happen in my life? If you are missing those things in life, if you are missing those little coincidences or synchronicities that sort of ring a bell when you see them, and if you're sort of putting them aside, take a look at them. Because it's hard to take a look at those things when you're under the influence, addicted, worrying about the past, living in the future. It's hard if you're not being present and take it for what it is and what it means to you. And I'm not saying it would mean anything to anybody else but you, but put some meaning to things and go into that meeting. How hard is it going to be? Like, was it hard going to first grade, second grade, third grade? Was it hard to go to recitals? Was it hard to, you know, go to be on Little League or whatever you were doing as a young kid? Wasn't that scary? Wasn't that exciting too at the same time? And you found out that you had a lot of fun doing it. You met a lot of really good people, and do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else. So, yeah, just go into those meetings and see what happens. You're not going to know unless you go inside. Go do it. Pick a meeting and go. And whatever feelings you're holding in you, like you're thinking, oh well, it's such a shameful thing, guilt. I'm that guy now. I'm that girl now.
Yeah.
I'm going in there and I'm like, this is me. I have some faults, and everybody's going to see it now. And just you're gonna have a good experience. Look for the positives and not the negatives. There's so many negatives in life. Try to look for the positives. Look for the positives. And if it seems weird and hinky, believe me, I've been there. I've been there. I've been to those meetings at the very beginning when I was in rehab. I'm sitting in an AA meeting and they're going through the steps. They're going through all this. I'm like, what is this? They read the promises. They read how it works. And I'm like, this is just weird. This is like set up like, this is so uncomfortable for me. But I sat through it. I didn't like it, but I sat through it and I didn't understand it. And I didn't like how it was so organized. It was just bringing up so much stuff with me. And I just sat through it and I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy into this stuff. I'm just going to try it. I need to try it because I have nothing else, right? The stuff I did in the past didn't work. And I'm like, found myself like needing help. And there was no one there except for me and this program. Absolutely nobody. Maybe some family members. But anyway, I wanted to make sure that I understood it. And then someone had a 1-year birthday. And guess what they did, Jim?
They do.
They came walking in with a cake, like a real live big birthday cake with a candle, a 1-year candle in it lit. And guess what they started doing?
Singing happy birthday?
Singing happy birthday. And I was like, hell no. This is the dorkiest, stupidest thing. You're singing happy birthday? Are we in freaking 6th grade?
Yep.
Are you kidding me? And I'm saying, I will never do that. That's bullshit. I'm just going to sit there, but I'm never going to sing. I didn't sing. I felt embarrassed. I don't know why, but I felt out of place. And later on in life, not too much longer, with some therapy and some guidance and some introspective examination, I found out where it came from. And now if I'm at a meeting and there's a birthday, I scream, I sing happy birthday. And I'm telling you what, Jim, I do not have that birthday voice. I try my best, but I'm not embarrassed. I just do my best.
Good for you.
And at the end of that meeting, I remember the female came up to me and she said, you know what? I'm going to give you this. This is the 1-year birthday. You can use it for your 1 year. And I'm pretty sure I still have that.
Wow.
I might have thrown it away. I don't know. But I kept it in a box and I didn't use it. I always kept it though. I'm like, that was really nice of her to do that. She gave me her 1-year candle. And I'm like, that's great. Anyway, as we're off the whole topic here.
That's right.
But you talked about, didn't you ask me like an hour and a half ago about someone wanting to go to a meeting and what to do?
Yeah. How do you encourage them?
Do it. Just do it. Quit being a freaking baby and go inside, sit down, grab a cup of coffee, grab a donut, grab a freaking muffin. If it's in a church and they're renting out the place, you're lucky the meeting's still alive, because a lot of people don't have $1 to give to the meeting so they can collect it to pay the rent. Because a lot of those places, they charge $40-$50 for 1 hour meeting. So you think there's going to be 50 people, first of all, going to that meeting? And how many people are going to put in just $1? Well, I've seen a lot of meetings shut down, unfortunately, but I've seen a lot of places open up their doors for free. So you know what? Just go in there. They're not going to take anything from you. They're not going to give you a tattoo and you have to follow some freaking crazy ass leader to do some weird shit. It's not going to happen that way. You're going to have a really great experience. And hopefully that you'll meet some good people and you'll get a better perspective. If you're not suffering from anything, you're just out there listening, going, "Oh, I don't need to go to no meetings." Try it out. You should probably know what a meeting is about before you talk to your clients about what meetings are about. If they ask you, "Have you ever gone to a meeting, Michael?" Heck yeah, I've gone to meetings. I know exactly what they're about. Get over yourself, walk through that door, just sit down for an hour, right? Not that big a deal. They ask you to share. It's like, sure, if you want to, or don't share. It's up to you. No one's going to look down at you. Just pass. Soak it up. You're not the first one, believe me. I was the one that would always ask the questions. I would sit there with my hands folded, and I wasn't being a jerk about it, but I was just like, I wasn't comfortable. But comfort does not, mean that it's going to kill you.
Right.
And change doesn't happen when you're comfortable.
Yeah.
You have to work it through that uncomfortable moments and sit through it.
Yeah. Do the opposite of how you feel. I don't feel like going. Go. Like Mike said, what's the worst that can happen? You get a cup of coffee, Yeah. Consider doing the opposite of how you feel.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Good point. That's a great advice for anybody. And, I hope this helped out a little bit, talking about the promises and, just take it one step at a time.
Yeah. Mike, one of the things that I have learned through the years is, and this comes from all my amazing friends and colleagues who are in active recovery, who have become counselors, completely turn their lives around. I know people just like you do who once upon a time had like 6-7-figure jobs and they fell into a dark place that led them to attempt to kill themselves. And they turned it around and restarted their lives and have moved forward, could easily go back into those old careers and make a ton of money and live happily ever after. But a lot of them don't. A lot of them realize how great it is to become a counselor and to take those negative experiences, those horrible seasons of our lives, those crucibles that we all walk through, help others from it. The best counselors are the ones who have been really through some dark spaces in life. They've learned how to manage it, learned how to help, to handle it. What is it we say? The book smart is great. Combination of street smart, life smart, people smart, all adds up. And I was asked once to consider going through the 12 steps with a sponsor. One of my amazing KDAC counselor colleague friends had said, "Jim, let's go through the steps together." I go, "You got it, brother. I'd love to do that." But my first thought was, and it speaks to what you said earlier, I didn't want to do it. I go, why would I do that? I'm okay. I'm on the healthy side of life. Why wouldn't I do it? And that's a piece of that whole contempt prior to investigation that you talked about. And I remembered one of the psychologists I used to work with, and that's where I got that saying from. Hey, Jim, consider doing the opposite of how you feel. I go, I will. Let's do it.
It's a good way to live your life.
It is.
It's a good way to live your life in a positive. And, get yourself a positive word jar too. That helps.
All right, everybody. That's our episode of Halt and Call for Backup. That's Mike Cook over there on the West Coast. This is Jim McClintock. Once upon a time on the West Coast. Gets back once in a while, but on the East Coast now. Y'all, when you're having a rough day, if you're thinking about taking a look at the steps and diving into a program and getting yourself some help, take a step back. We encourage you. And halt. Call for backup.
Don't get fooled again.
What do you think? Was that okay?
Beautiful.
All right, man.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
fat tongue.
I loved it.